So far, I love the Jaden Daniels one.
Yep.
Next player, Jared Thomas Goff. He's on the list officially. He was what was
Talk
he,
to me, Klotz.
what was he, top 5 last year?
Yeah. 4.
Yeah, so he was in that realm last year, balled out. New OC, maybe Frank retiring. If he does it, if he's in the MVP conversation this year, I think we have to have a conversation about Jared Goff.
There's no excuses at that point for people who don't like him.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. What do I think happens? I think his stats drop from last year, not in a bad way. I just think he's probably around, what do you have, 37 and 10? I think the yards will probably be around the same. He's always been around over 4,000 every year. I mean, he'll be in the around that area.
It was a 4,600 last year.
Yeah, he'll probably be. I wouldn't be shocked if he got that again. 44 to 46, whatever it is. I think the TDs do come down a little bit, though. I think he's probably 31 TDs this year. I can see him throwing 30 again, but I don't think he throws 37 or more again. That would be, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but in my opinion, I don't think it happens. And then the interceptions are the other thing. He had 10 last year. I think he probably gets around the same number. So I think it's a Jared Goff year, but I don't think it's an MVP year. But honestly, dark horse, again, we're not talking about winning. Dark horse, I actually don't hate this, honestly. I mean, he's with all the weapons they have, like, I understand it. I understand why he would be a dark horse.
Yeah. I think if he does something similar to last year, even comes close to it. Like, I do think last year there was just some, like, Lamar's year was insane. Josh Allen had an insane year, which these guys could have those years again.
Right.
But, and like Joe Burrow, he had a crazy year. I think he was a finalist as well. And Saquon, I think that was the 5. But if Jared goes out there and he has 4,500 plus yards for a second year in a row, and he throws for, even if he throws, honestly, give him 30-something touchdowns. Like, you can still, in like less than 10 interceptions, and they're on, and they're somehow winning some of these big time games. I think that's the biggest thing. Remember last year, the conversation I had with Jared to win the MVP was he has to play good all the way through the year. Obviously, that Texans game's hurt him. But when that 49ers game came around, I was like, that's going to be the game that puts him over. And then that 49ers game, there was no meaning to it. But then the Minnesota Vikings one ended up being that game to where go win this game. You're not going to win it, but you'll be a finalist. And that's what happened. I think this year, it's, you guys know how I feel about awards. It's storylines, big storylines. And I think they play a lot of big games this year. He plays against Joe Burrow. He plays against Patrick Mahomes. Who else do they play? Lamar Jackson. Like, you're playing MVP guys. So if you go into those games, and a lot of those games are going to be primetime, and this offense looks like it did at the peak last year, there's not, like, media is going to be talking and be like, this Jared Goff offense. They lose Frank Ragnow. If he goes out there and performs in some of those games, the conversation is going to be started up again. It's going to be sparked up. And I don't think there's a, you know what I mean? It's a good thing. I mean, you're sitting there going, like, this guy's playing out of his mind. It means you're winning games.
Yeah, I think this upcoming year for Jared Goff is the most important year of his career, even going back to LA, because in LA, he kind of had you could be like, well, he's still developing. He's a young quarterback, had success, weighed on it. He's in his prime now. I think Jared Goff can continue to get better, but I don't think you're going to see another step coming out of Jared Goff. If he doesn't operate at the level he was last year, they're not going to make the Super Bowl. This has to be the year when Jared Goff is the leader of this team. Obviously, there's going to be guys like Panay and Aiden Hutchinson, but you got to look at Jared Goff and say he is the one commanding this team. The best player on this team right now, outside of Panay Sewell and Hutch, is Jared Goff. There's no question about it. And he has to be single-handedly at some points putting games away with not his arm, as far as throwing 70-yard bombs at J-Mo, but continue to perform on that efficient level where you saw the Seattle Seahawks game was very close on Monday Night Football. But he was able, throughout that whole game, to go 18 for 18, play flawless, and that just helps that defense put the game away because you're able to hand off the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. You can check it down to David Montgomery, watch him truck Devin Witherspoon and run for another 50 yards. And if you just stay steady and consistent, this team has the talent to be able to go on and close teams out within itself. But now that you're talking about, okay, there's going to be a different situation, play calling, no Frank Ragnow, that makes it more difficult. But Jared has to take that step up to at least maintain the level of play that he was at last year.
I do think with the loss of Frank and Zeitler, it's going to hurt him, which would hurt any quarterback. You lose a potential Pro Bowl level guard and your all-pro center, especially for someone who's not really necessarily very mobile. I think we have to just state the obvious, like, it's going to hurt him. Now, how much does it hurt him? I don't think he goes out and has a 20/20 vision, 20 picks, 20 TDs or nothing like that. I just think his stats regress. But the thing is, I don't give a shit about his stats during the regular season. I don't. What I care about is what playoff Goff you're getting. That's the most important thing of this whole thing. We're talking about regular season stats and numbers and awards. I don't care. He could come out this year, have 25 TD, 7 picks. And I'd be like, great year by Jared. I need to see Jared playing in the playoffs at the level he was playing at when they made the NFC Championship. I need that Jared, where he's dialed. He started that Rams game 11 for 11, just picking apart defenses. That's all I really, because we've seen quarterbacks. I mean, we've seen great quarterbacks do it, but guys that just kind of coast through the regular season and they turn it on for the playoffs. Usually it's some of these all-time greats, but I'm not going to judge Jared by whether or not he's in the MVP conversation. I don't care. Like, if this dude gets you a deep playoff run and he plays well, I'm going to look at that contract and be like, you know what? This is why you're paying the guy, not to win MVP award. Although it'd be nice, obviously. Hey, the guy won MVP. It's great. Coverage. It's great conversation. But I want playoff Goff, Max Aura.
I think there's two. I agree with you, Jeff. Like, I think everyone does as well. I've seen the chat. Most people do. I think there's two things to that point that you made there. One, the MVP. I just want to throw this out there. If Jared Goff goes out there this year and puts, let's say, identical numbers that he did last season, I think that would hold more weight in the MVP conversation in 2025, based off of Frank Ragnow leaving, Kevin Zeitler leaving, new OC. I think people would look at that and be like, I think he would have a better case. Exact same numbers. I'm saying you put them right next to each other, and somehow he has the 4,600, 38, and 12 again. I think people will look at it and be like, hey, you really actually should consider him to win the MVP because of what he did in the new situation that he's in. Now, to your point about that, Jeff, with the playoffs, I completely agree with you. Like, the regular season, this is the point where I say with the home field, all of that, like, nothing matters. The only thing that matters from week 1 to week 18 is getting into playoffs. That's it. Nothing else matters. Like, performances, nothing matters until you get there. Staying healthy and making sure you're in the playoffs. And then when you get in the playoffs, the positive I'll take away from this, Jeff, is typically in the past, like 2 years ago, when you weren't in the playoffs, no one knew if Jared Goff was going to be good when you did get to the playoffs. Like, you were sitting there like, are you going to get the Jared Goff from the Super Bowl who barely threw for any yards, and they ended up losing to the Patriots team, that defense, and they really couldn't hold their own? Or are you going to get the Jared Goff in the regular season that you've seen in some big games where he does make those plays? And then when we got to finally see it in 2023, hey, this guy can play in the playoffs. Like, this isn't he can actually play. And then obviously the Commanders game was just a meltdown. I think the positive of it is you do know, hey, we can get a good Jared Goff in the playoffs. Like, we've seen it before. I think not having that unknown is actually a kind of a good feeling, but you still need to be like, hey, we need that out of him at the end of the day. But at least we know we can get it. There's an expectation now. He's done it before for us.
Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested, or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.